One of the president's many czars, as you likely know, has stepped down in a scandal, and Republicans are now setting their sights on some of the other czars that are out there. Vanessa has the latest on the czar wars. What's going on?
Dylan, here you have conservatives and Republicans griping for months now about how President Obama's unprecedented number of czars is taking command, taking charge here. He has more than 30 czars. High-level advisors, some reporting directly to the president, and unlike cabinet secretaries, they're not confirmed by the Senate.
So when you take all these people and make policy close to the president in the White House to people who don't go to the Congress and aren't approved by the Congress, you're just adding fuel to the fire by those who think Washington is taking over everything.
Over the weekend, Green Job czar Van Jones tendered his resignation. It was revealed he'd signed a petition that suggested the U.S. government was involved in the 9/11 terror attacks. And these comments didn't help either.
How were the Republicans able to push things through when they had less than 60 senators, but somehow we can't?
Well, the answer to that is they're Remember, Obama's not an So, now, I will say this. I can be an and some of us who are not Barack Hussein Obama are going to have to start getting a little bit of it.
You know, I'm sure that the impact was much more when you could actually hear it without the bleeps. Anyway, now the GOP is setting its sights on other Obama czars. On the hit list, so-called hit list, science czar John Holdren, regulator czar Cass Sunstein, and FCC diversity czar Mark Lloyd. Dylan.
I feel like it's, considering that we basically have a banking oligarchy and a health insurance oligarchy and a corn oligarchy controlling our government, along with a few other, it makes sense to me that we'd have czars.
Well, do you call them something else? Maybe if you call them something other than czars.
Yes, I'm just saying the czars kind of match the oligarchy that currently runs the U.S. Congress, as far as I can tell. Representative Jack Kingston, Republican, Georgia, upset, understandably, about the way these czars are being picked without Senate involvement. Representative put the Obama czars in the context of the Bush czars and the Nixon czars and the Reagan czars and the Clinton czars and presidential czars of the past. In other words, do you find President Obama's czars more offensive because of political reasons, or are you equally offended by every czar that may come and go out of this country?
I think it's the number of czars. Every president in recent times has had a handful of czars, basically kind of special task force guys. But the Obama team is up to 34 czars. Now, to put it in perspective, Tsarist Russia, over a 300-year period of time, had 18 czars. We're up to 34 now. These are very powerful people in that they have influence to the White House, open door to the president, and the Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution says that the president must seek advice and consent of the U.S. Senate when naming his principal advisors and officers. And so clearly, the administration has set up some very influential people and gone around the Constitution.
So as a representative of the American people from the state of Georgia, what can you do and what can others in Congress do to, at the very least, bring the czarist culture that we are living in, if you will, and we'll come back to the oligarchs in a second, but how do you bring the light to that? Is there a piece of legislation you could offer up?
Yes. In fact, I have introduced House Resolution 3226. It's called the Czar Accountability Act, and it just says that czars need to have Senate confirmation in order to get their offices funded. If he doesn't want to fund their office and just kind of have an ad hoc volunteer, well, that's his basis. But these guys are getting paid $172,000 a year. They have staff. They have offices. They have security details, and we're saying, therefore, they should go in front of the Senate. And I want to be quick to add that the Democrats under Richard Nixon did the exact same thing, and I think he only had 3 or 4 czars, but the Democrats in the Senate introduced legislation to stop Nixon from doing this. So it's not... There is a political precedent for it, I would say.
Yeah, well, I would just be curious, what would be the resistance? In other words, if people are uncomfortable with power outside of the democratic process, whether it was the creation of a third class of prisoner on the torture front, or with the decision to deliver a few dozen $1 trillion of taxpayer money to the banks without talking to anybody about it, or appointing 35 czars to do whatever they want to do, what can Congress do to kind of get some version of democracy back to America?
Well, you know, one of the things that I'm astounded by is that the Democrats did not learn from the Republican mistakes. And our mistake in 8 years of the majority with the White House, or, you know, off and on with the majority in the Senate, but we had the House, is that we were rubber stamping what the Bush administration wanted to do, whether it was spending, whether it was in an international policy, whether it was with weapons of mass destruction. We did not use the equal branches of government to check the executive branch and the legislative branch.
And that hasn't worked out super well, wouldn't you say?
You know, it should work well in paper, but what we're seeing now is that the Democrats, from the moderate blue dogs to the hardcore left wing, they're rolling over. I mean, case in point, one of the big reasons Obama was elected was to change the direction of the war, but he keeps on the Secretary of Defense of Bush and keeps the same policy, and not one Democrat speaks out against it.
Are we ultimately, Representative, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but are we ultimately at this point as a country hostage to a broken system? In other words, whether it's the too-big-to-fail oligarchy of the corporations or the power structure that exists inside of this sort of outside-the-box czar system, or for that matter, our investment in wars in the Middle East, we've now gone down paths that we are unable to extricate ourselves from, even when it is obvious that the path we're on may be disastrous.
You know, I think you raise a good point. We seem to be in a paralysis of independent thought, and I think it's okay to oppose your own party and bring up hard questions. Had the Democrats done this on Van Jones, they could have saved the president some embarrassment. I mean, here's a guy who was an admitted communist. He was a member of a Marxist organization in Oakland, California. He said capitalism is killing the planet, and oil companies in Nigeria are killing the people over there. This was a radical, wacky guy who may have been a great community organizer, but as an advisor to the President of the United States,
sure,
he was a bad fit. And if the president had been held accountable by his own party, they could have saved him this embarrassment.
Yeah. Representative Kingston, thanks for a little time on the Horn.